Hey guys, Abby here. How are you guys doing today? Today I am with Toronto Unicorn.
Hello.
She is joining us here on our channel for a little smoke and some chat about all things fetishes and specifically a lot of swinger things. And we talk a lot of cuckold things and, basically have a smoke and chat.
Love it.
So, yep.
Let me just do a little intro for who I am.
Okay.
Awesome. So I have a YouTube channel. It's at Toronto Unicorn. I basically vlog and tell stories about my swinger lifestyle experiences in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I go to sex clubs, I report back, and I do this so that you don't have to, or that you can feel more comfortable when you do want to. I like to take the scary out of sex clubs. That's my mission out there. So a lot of the people who go to my YouTube, they like to first check out the sex club tour videos. That is where you get to see the inside of some of the hottest Toronto sex clubs. And, cameras are not allowed normally. So this is a really rare opportunity to see where do swingers hang out. We can't, fetishes I've learned or kinks or whatever, I like to say as long as it's legal. I
Right.
but can't really understand why it might make somebody happy or whatever. But what I've learned is to not try, because you can't always understand why someone would want to take up a certain hobby, or like the foot of the body versus, another a boob or something. I remember my psychology classes in university, I studied human sexuality. And
Uh-huh.
man, that was the only class where I was like up front, like teach me, tell me it all. Any little bit of sex I could get out of any part of vanilla mainstream society I wanted, right? I didn't know this
Right.
lifestyle existed back then.
Mhm.
And I remember they did like brain scans of people who were activated with their arousal when they had fetishes and things like that. And it goes to show the arousal is lit up. Like, it is not a
Mhm.
big thing. It could be a wire cross. You know how sometimes the light switch over there is supposed to turn on that light, you think, but it opens, or the bathroom light. It sometimes the switch and the trigger and the response just might not be as predictable. But yeah, I find them
Right.
interesting. Yeah. But the smoking, I mean, let's just be honest, oral fixation.
Right.
As we lick
I
our
mean, I
lips, taking in the circular thing into our, like, I can make this really sexual.
yeah. Um, yeah, and that kind of is another thing, like when you said about judging, that was kind of another thing I wanted to do with the channel is I wanted to create a space where like you don't have to agree with what I do. You don't have to like what I do. You can have your opinions about what I do, and you are free to express them. Throw them in the comments. I want to hear them. But you have to respect my opinion and point of view just as much as I respect yours. You know, I it was kind of like an area where you could talk about these things like grown adults, have a conversation, not a knockdown, drag them out fight over who's right and who's wrong. You know, just respect each other's point of views and opinions on things. Um, but yeah, I mean, and I've learned so much with the
Sorry.
channel.
Now I'm remembering why I smoke weed during the interview. Okay, I just didn't want you to lose your thought. So now you can pick up about the part you're just going to say.
Oh, I mean, I've learned so much um, from since I've started this channel. We're at a little bit over 2 years now with it. Um,
What
about
are
a
some of
lot
the
of
top
different
things?
things.
Like, what did you
Pardon?
learn? What are some of the things that Abby took home as a, oh, okay, something I didn't know about the world?
Okay, well, um, gosh, so much, so much. Um, I've learned about a lot of the different fetishes, what, where they come from, like the psychology of it.
All right.
Um, like with the smoking fetish, it's that oral fixation, it's the Freud thing, the Oedipus complex. Um,
Yeah.
you took psychology class, so you're
Yeah.
probably familiar with that. Um, and a lot of people don't understand why they have, just like the smoking fetish. Um, they don't understand where it came from. And, a lot of people ask that. And it's like, well, did someone, a significant female in your younger years, smoke? Your mom, your aunt, your grandma, your mom's best friend that was always around the house. Um, Typically it kind of starts there, because you associate it with comfort and nurturing and love. And then, it turns into, as your body's changing, and you're starting to feel things. And oh my gosh, now it's a turn on sort of thing. And it just kind of rears its head as a fetish when you're older, when you're an adult. It's kind of crazy, right?
Right. I loved it as a prop in some old movies. I think even Cruella de Vil or somebody, one of those old villains, had that long cigarette thing where, you know,
Yeah, the holder.
yeah, and even now I want a holder, probably from that scene, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where romanticized,
Mhm.
idolized like people who smoke, like you said, right? Made it someone who is sexy smoking a cigarette. Well, the cigarette's part of the sexy, right? And so
Right.
I know that when I've smoked over like cigarettes, I've smoked over the years on and off. I don't currently smoke, but you know what? I just went through a shitty fucking breakup and they are my get out of breakup free card. So I smoke during breakups. That's just my deal with cigarettes because they're a friend to me when I need them. And then I put them away, right? For me, that
Yeah,
works out. Not a lot of people can pick up cigarettes like I do and put them down again. It's just for me
right.
not as effortful to quit. But today's like day one again of going without it again. And I'm like, well, at least I can smoke weed because that oral fixation, that thing is still happening. So it's easier to quit one smoking when I can just fill it with the other smoking.
Right.
So
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, like so many people have so many little nuances with their fetishes. That's another thing that I've learned. Um, just, again, smoking fetish, some guys are like you said, the cigarette holder.
yeah.
Use your cigarette holder. Some of them want you to wear rubber gloves, like the kitchen rubber
Yeah.
glove. Um, some of them want red lipstick
Yeah.
and want to see, red lipstick stain on the end of the cigarette butt. That does it for them. Some of them want to watch you crush it out with your heel. You know, just lots of different nuances. I did learn through this though too that there are some people out there whose kink is actually eating the ashes and butts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't either. And I've actually had a couple people offer to be my ashtray.
Oh wow. That's
Yeah, they're like, please, can I be your ashtray? I would love to eat your ashes. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. Like, so I had to research this, right? And I'm looking to see like what that does to your body,
right.
that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Um, but I even had one guy send me pictures um, and offer me money to have me and my smoking girlfriends, put a little smoking party together. And he had like the pictures he sent had like a table with a hole cut out of it, and you could see his mouth in the middle of the hole, like up to the bottom of the hole. And he would just sit there and let his girlfriends all smoke around him. I'm like, okay, I don't know that I could do that personally,
Yeah.
but you know,
Fascinating.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, I've learned stuff about that. I've learned um, men can squirt. Yes, I totally doubted that when someone told me that. I'm like, no way. But they can. Um, so that was kind of interesting.
How do you know? Did someone do it? Did someone just like call in and share their story? Like,
Yeah, well, someone sent. I actually had two people email me because I had done a squirting video um, about women squirting and if
Mhm.
it was real. And I had two guys send me emails saying, yeah, men squirt too. I've done it. And I thought, no way, you know? And the one guy sent me a link to a Pornhub video that showed a man squirting. And I'm like, no way, get out of here.
Wow. So
Uh,
not
yeah,
immaculate, but squirt.
yes, yes. And it has to do with like rectal stimulation. From what I researched after that, because I'm big on digging into things I don't know about.
Yeah.
I'll start looking everywhere to find out. Um, but yeah, yeah, that was kind of interesting. But
I like the
yeah,
smoking the fetish because like I film some femdom role play
mhm,
ASMR stuff. So I have a fan page and I like to go there where I, get in kind of character, I channel it. And sometimes I just need that cigarette to be part of my character, right? And so it's like
yeah,
I totally know what it does for something or some energy. And
hmm,
yeah, no, I think it's something really erotic about smoking. I just didn't know. I've never gone down the rabbit hole of fetish, and that's fascinating because just somebody wanting to see the red lipstick and then smushed between your feet. And then it surprises me that people want to eat the ashes, but it also doesn't after like it did for about a hot 20 seconds because then people on my fan page also wanted to buy my used pennies, people want to buy other things too that I didn't want to sell, but it was like they just wanted a piece of me in any
hmm,
way they can have it and or something like that. And so when you understand someone just wants to consume something of yours, take it
yes,
into their body, it doesn't, it's a vehicle for the energy, or that's my belief, versus the actual want of that specific item, maybe. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm a little
yeah.
high.
No, no, you're fine. Makes sense. Yeah, I've had people ask me for my cigarette butts
Hmm.
to send them my cigarette butts. I have not done that yet. I
What a
don't know
way to
that I
make some
will.
money.
What's
Okay.
that?
What a way to make some money.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll take it. Who
Uh,
wants to buy my cigarette butt?
uh,
I'll save them. I will. I'll put them in
there you
a
go.
little Ziploc and
There you
I'll
go.
FedEx them somewhere. But the thing is, if I had a crush, like I remember when you get like big crushes on celebrities, I would like want to
Mhm.
breathe the air they breathed, and like if they had dropped like half a donut, I might go pick it up and like just to see what. Not because I want
Right,
germs of anyone, but their germs, right? Their germs are
right.
different than anyone else's germs. So I can see if you idealize someone, and you can't get more of them, then you would want
Mhm.
like that. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, yes, it's very interesting. It's been an interesting road for sure,
And do you talk
but
about non-monogamy versus poly versus cheating?
yes, yes, I do talk about that. Um, and all the different situations with Polly, you know, about swinging, um, non all of it.
Yeah.
Like I've just covered, I've had someone ask me about furries, um, just all kinds of kinks and fetishes, lots of BDSM stuff. Um, but and they all seem, and as time has gone on, I've actually kind of opened up a little bit more about my own personal experiences in that world. Um, my husband and I, for the longest time, and actually, I thought it was cuckolding for the longest time, but I guess it really wasn't because in the true definition of cuckolding, you've got your female and you've got your bull, and then you have your cuckold. And the bull gets to have the wife, And what makes it a cuckold situation is that the cuckold gets humiliated in some way. It's a bit of humiliation, and it's actually a subcategory of all the million subcategories in BDSM. It's a subcategory of that. But for the longest time, I thought that's kind of what we were doing, but minus the humiliation part. Because I don't really do that with my husband. That's just not,
Yeah.
I mean, something that's just not me personally.
But what is
I
it
I
then?
love him too much. Pardon?
Sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know this very well. So what is it then if it's not with humiliation?
Well, that's what I ended up finding out. It's actually a stag and vixen situation. Yeah. Yeah, where the stag like encourages the wife to go out on dates and, have sex with the bull and come home and tell them all about it. And that's what turns them on. That's what gets their engine going. Um,
And same room, right? This could also be a person who wants his buddy to fuck his wife well without being humiliated by it, right? Just come and give my
right,
a real
right.
grilling to China is my new phrase. Yeah. Well, that's
Yes.
because I've been involved in a lot of threesomes and foursomes or whatever, and
Hmm.
some had humiliation, but I didn't know it was between two partners, established partners, and she basically would step on him on the floor with her heels on and be like,
Hmm.
"Oh, be a good boy down there," and like she would start talking, and we were all just like watching along because we don't know what is this guy
Right,
allowing, what
right.
is he not. And then, you have to be careful with how you humiliate. I never wanted to hit him as hard as he wanted or put my own heel on him as hard as he wanted. This guy wanted to be stepped on. He wanted us, me and his hot, sexy girlfriend, to be in our heels or boots and literally just put almost like we're putting cigarettes out on him with our shoes.
Hmm.
He fucking got so hard. So hard. And so there's so much in there in the
Hmm.
world of arousal that when you really open the door and allow yourself to figure it out, what is it? What is that scenario? What is it that makes you tingle in your body? It could be different
Right.
for everybody, but it's so fun to explore when you will allow yourself
Yeah.
to explore, right?
Yeah, there are so many nuances to any of these lifestyles that, it's
Yeah.
very personalized to say the least. And I found out too that I thought was interesting with like the cuckolding stag vixen sort of situation. A lot of times, and this probably holds true for BDSM too, um, from the psychological point of view, um, a lot of times men in like high powered positions, really stressful positions, where they always have to be in control and be on top of their game, engage in that kind of a lifestyle because it's a release for them. They
Yes.
don't have to be in control. It's a way for them to be out of control, so to speak. So,
Love it.
um,
So what way back when I studied in a textbook and got the same answer, right? It was
mhm,
probably because people were in high powered, stressful positions that wanted to temporarily escape the responsibilities and stresses and roles and
right.
of life. And now fast forward, I am an orgy director at a sex club. So I just go I help my friends mostly. It's all for free, but I basically help them fulfill their fantasies by finding out what their fantasies are, helping curate the men and running the scene, right? So I have
Mhm,
had a few experiences now. And all the women I've met who want to have a gangbang and have all these men on them and all, they have stressful jobs. Everybody wants something from, and they want to be able to disappear for a bit in this experience.
mhm.
And it's funny to see it firsthand that everybody needs a break of
Yeah.
the burden of the masks they wear. And I don't mean masks as artificial, everyone has masks to wear in life,
Sure.
right? But the
Mhm,
burden of always being the one in charge, always being the dominant, always being the one that everyone looks to solve problems. well, if you could suddenly go and be a submissive for someone, and suddenly you hand them the keys to the, paradise, and suddenly
Right.
I remember, so I'm a women's studies major and psychology major. I've been very much into women's empowerment and all of that. I was
Hmm.
feminist, I don't go by that term on my channel a lot because I know what it does to the dick, frankly. So I try to, like, rebrand. But
Yeah.
the truth is, I didn't know you could submit and be equal, and you absolutely can. And I love submission now, and I love wearing a collar with certain, like, dominance
Hmm.
that I'm with, that allow me, as a very alpha female, a very dominant, person in life normally, for those times. Like, now I'm doing it, even though I was like, oh, that's for the other people to do. I studied it in books. Now it's me, who doesn't want to always lead.
Hmm.
So sexy to just be told what to do sometimes. I don't know. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. In the
have you ever
beginning,
heard of, oh, sorry, but I have a question to put on the side is, have you ever heard of ambition kink?
ambition kink. No.
People who need to be, like, given a task to do, and then they need to work hard and then achieve it. And then you tell them they did a great job, and then they get really aroused.
Really
Totally. Yeah. You know how
interesting.
hard we work for those gold stars in school. Like, you say,
No kidding.
right, to someone who has an ambition, can you see their eyes light up when they're given a challenge, right? And
Uh-huh.
I love it. As a bit of a femdom, I like to encourage any of the like, guys who have submission with me, to get a lot out of it, right? I want them to enjoy their experience, not, get something really, like, rich out of it. And so I can make them feel like they won me over when it wasn't easy, right? And, like, and then they get
Right.
the feeling of getting the girl who was not going to give it to them, but then they earned it. Wank, wank, wank,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
There's so much nuance in arousal, and I feel like I cut you off, and that's because I
Oh
spoke
no,
on
you're
you, but
fine.
you can finish now.
No, I don't even recall
All
what
right.
I was saying, but that's okay.
That's a good
So yeah,
switch.
but I've actually found your channel um because as of about the last year or so, um my husband and I decided to explore a little more, explore swinging.
Oh, okay.
Um yeah, so just trying to get a feel for it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. you know, let me see what
Yeah.
I can find out here. Um,
Did you
but
find a
yeah,
tour video? Is did you look at sex club tour videos? Is that how you found me?
um, I I was looking up like fetish type stuff and kinks type stuff.
Okay.
And I don't recall exactly what I had typed in when I had found you. Um, and it may have been sex clubs, quite honestly, um, because I had tried looking stuff up for that as well. Um,
Probably it.
but yeah,
But stuff.
yeah. I thought because we had a couple experiences that I just thought, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, wow. Um,
Tell me more.
yeah. Yeah, and one one of them actually I talk about in a video on my channel, but I kind of left it as like in the third person sort of thing, because it was just really so wild. Like we had met this couple, and we swapped and we hung out with them a few times, and then they like invited us into their circle,
Okay.
sort of thing, and as more and more people were coming into the circle and everybody's getting to know everybody, and like you've been doing swinging for a long time, and what you have a certain taste for. Like you just can't have sex with somebody who you don't unfortunately find physically or mentally stimulating. You just can't.
No,
At least not in my opinion.
I agree.
Um, and in this group, all these people, as they started coming in, I'm thinking, none of these men are really my taste. And not to sound prude or not to sound rude, um, you know, I am by no means Barbie here. Um, but it was just weird. Like I just didn't feel like, uh. But my husband, on the other hand, he was the youngest of the group, because there's like 8 years difference between he and I. Um, and in my personal opinion, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a little biased, he is the best looking in the group. Um, and I just thought to myself, all these women flocking to him, and we've gone to a couple parties, and I was cool with it, like, hey, have your fun, do your thing, eat it up, because let's face it, it feels good to have attention, you know
Of course, I just wish it was balanced. I wish you had your eye on some stud guy over in the corner too, right? But it doesn't seem like it was. Yeah.
right. And after a couple gatherings, it became like this big, and I ended up bonding really good with one of the husbands there. um he he was kind of like, for me, it wasn't that he wasn't good looking, it was more like he was kind of like the guy who's in the friend zone, you know what I mean? Like he, the cuddly teddy bear that all the girls love, but nobody wants
That's
to
the
be
thing.
his girlfriend. Right, right. So we hit it off on an intellectual level and a personality level. So a lot of times in these gatherings, we would hang out together and talk and do whatever. Um, but this group, I just thought to myself, like the one night he and I were sitting there and we were just watching, because we both knew, we're like, yeah, everybody loves your husband. All the women are like fighting over him. And it got so ridiculous this one night, like women going, he's not your husband. Don't tell him what to do.
God.
And oh my God, it was crazy. And then, like, we were playing board games at one point, and they were all like fighting, trying to hone in and squeeze in to sit next to him. And me and this other guy are sitting back, like, wow, wow, and they actually got kind of catty. Like, we were sitting on a couch, and he came over and sat in between these two women, and we were all talking, joking around, and um, of course, alcohol's involved. Um, and another one of the girls called him over to play pool. And he was getting ready to get up, and the two women sitting on either side of him, like, threw their legs over top of his lap real quick so he wouldn't go anywhere. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what is wrong with you people? Like, it was so crazy. Why, I just couldn't believe it. And then the one girl, she's beautiful. The one girl in the group, she's, the skinny, blonde, huge boobs, she had a boob job, so like they're the perfect boobs, you know, just,
Yeah.
yeah. And he actually clicked with her a little bit because they have job similarities.
Okay.
So this became the girl that all the other women got jealous of. And it just became this
Not
big
the wife,
catty thing.
but the other girl, really?
Yes. Yes. I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with these women? Like, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta walk outside, because this is just these, and I'm talking, these are women in their 40s and 50s. I'm like, you are excuse my mouth, grown ass women,
Yeah.
and you are behaving this way. And
Yeah.
you're in a swinger situation setting. What is wrong with you? You should be embarrassed for yourself to be acting this way.
Right.
And like you said, if anyone in that room had a right to be jealous, it would have been me. And I just watching like, is this really, I feel like I'm in high school again, you
Yeah.
know? It was so crazy, but yeah, it didn't end up good with the group, to say the least. Um, so yeah, we're kind of looking for a new group to get into now, because it was just absurd. We got in the car to go home and I looked at my husband, I'm like, what was that?
It's such a risk to join a niche little like group of people.
Uh-huh.
Are really just meeting people off the internet. Like, chances are the same as online dating, I would assume. But if
Right.
you go to sex clubs like I do in Toronto, Ontario, Canada,
Hmm.
my goodness, it's just a land of people who are sex positive, right? And that's the
Hmm.
good thing, is like there's respect, so people wouldn't jump on your husband. That would be, people would not touch anybody without consent in sex clubs, right? So you wouldn't have
Right.
that issue of people like overstepping on that. But
Hmm.
at least that way you guys can swim those waters together. Oasis is an aqua spa, right? That's why I say that.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful place to find your dynamics versus,
Hmm.
I've never had success online dating, let alone with swingers. I just really haven't. So I hope that you have better experiences than, the only way I know how to have better experiences is from sex clubs. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't even have to have sex there. You just could meet there. But
Me too.
right, like some people don't, like, I personally, I do not love having sex in front of people. Not my
Hmm.
biggest thing at all. I know some people love it. I don't enjoy having my sex in front of people unless I choose them to be in the room. So
Hmm.
I would, if my perfect fantasy is I go to the sex club this week, I meet a guy, he like blows me away. We have like a 2-3 hour conversation. I'm feeling safe, I'm feeling good. And then he has like a hotel, like right down the hotel room or something right down. I'll be like, okay,
Hmm.
that will get me off because now I will feel comfortable doing
Right.
the erotic dances that we do.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's that. And do you do like hotel takeovers or anything? Do you go to any of those? Do they
I
have those there?
don't, I'm not
I
as
would assume
experienced.
so.
Like, I know I have a YouTube channel and I talk about swinging. I have scratched the surface of what the experience of swinging can look like, or sex positive lifestyle. I've never even been to a hotel takeover yet. So I haven't been to a naked campground yet. I haven't been to a swinger campground. I haven't been to a swinger resort. I am missing out on some of the good life in the swinger, but can I break a secret? It's not so secret. It's kind of a secret. I don't feel like I'm that much of a swinger anymore. I think I was. I came, I saw, I swang, I swung. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have
Huh.
it in me to keep swinging around as much as I thought I would. And so now that I'm
Hmm.
looking for my next partner, like my life partner, someone to share, my goods, my downs with, I don't even
Hmm.
need him to come and swing with me because I don't know if I even need that. I just want to be around it. I want to be around people who think sex is okay,
Right.
right? I don't necessarily
Yeah.
always need to swap or,
Yeah.
so I'm
That makes
finding
sense.
a comfort in that, and just wanting to be in the lifestyle, even if I don't want to swap right now. So just,
Yeah. That makes sense.
I'm in therapy with Abby. Wow. I would enjoy this.
No, you're fine. You're fine. No, I get it. I get it. I kind of gone through, I guess you'd say, a dry spell too. At one point, I'm like, this is just not fun for me. And I had some other health things going on, had a couple surgeries, and was laid up for a while. And, no fun with that. But yeah, so I get it. And maybe it's a permanent dry spell. Like you said, you came, you saw, you did it, you're good.
Yeah, and it's like when I started the lifestyle as a single woman, I like to have threesomes with couples, and then it was thrilling, and then I had another
Hmm.
one, and I had another one, and then I had another one, and then it wasn't so thrilling,
Hmm.
just like anything else, right? And then
Right.
suddenly it's like a drug. Well, now what's next? Oh, a foursome. Let's try a foursome. Let's try an orgy. Let's move up the chain. I didn't originally want to be in an orgy, but I did actually
Right.
when I developed, a comfort with the threesomes and then, wanting more. And then I ended up throwing my own. I threw some private hotel sex parties, but they were just one hotel room, right? It was like me and my intimate group of people that were hand selected to come. I ran the thing like a girl at a camp counselor. Like I was playing truth or dare, spin the bottle. People got so comfortable before the sex came out. Like we started with, can you like touch their arm first? And like we would just get so,
Hmm.
I love the psychologist in me with helping my friends get comfortable because I just think it's fun to break touch barriers in that way and not make it so awkward for people and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, and I think I found my calling doing what I'm doing, but on YouTube and podcasts and stuff. But I have a lot to learn and a lot to see. But the truth is, do I even have the appetite to continue looking around at other sex club experiences? I don't know if I give a shit, to be honest. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Huh.
don't want to get on an airplane to go see another St. Andrew's crowd.
Yeah.
I can see that in Toronto. So I don't want to close any doors or anything, but I just don't have the same ambitions as some of the other influencers or educators in the swinger lifestyle as I'm watching around. They always do like these hotel takeovers, like you were saying, or like these resort
Hmm.
takeovers. And it's so great because they have an ability to connect with people who follow them and party with them. So I
Hmm.
understand why they do that, but yeah, for me, not the route I'm taking, but maybe my journey is not even stuck in sex clubs and swinging. Maybe it's just my journey would included that, and if I pull out of that for a bit, maybe it keeps going, right? I don't know.
Yeah. It's
So,
possible.
well, you've been on YouTube for a couple years now, you said, right?
Yeah.
So how does it meet you? I've been on YouTube since 2019. No, 2020. Wow, that's still 4 years.
Oh, wow.
Where did the time go? Yeah, so how would you like adjust? Like you have a good channel, you've got content, you've got good content, good views. Like how is it your life as a content creator, like a few years in?
Um, well, I have learned a few tricks of the trade.
Mhm.
Um, it comes a lot easier. I mean, if you at least talking to the camera and being on camera, I feel a lot more relaxed.
Good.
Um, if you take a look at like some of my very first videos, I'm just talking about whatever because I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just in front of a camera and I'm smoking and I'm talking. That's kind of where it was. But then as things started to grow and progress, I've expanded a little. I've done, um, oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank and it's like the simplest word, customs. I started making custom videos, and actually I'm kind of at a halt with that right now, um, because I'm on, I'm actually on some videos in Pornhub with a smoking fetish and clips for sale, and I have an OnlyFans. I find sometimes keeping up with all of this can be a little overwhelming. Um, but I do the best I can because I do work full-time day job as well. Um, but I love it and I'm seeing more and more opportunities. Um, and it's funny that you're smoking weed because I had someone reach out to me about 6 months ago, ask asking to use my name, my brand, and it still is hard for me to wrap around my head that I'm a brand. Um, but contacted me about actually making a brand or a strain of medical marijuana. with my name on it.
Amazing. Okay.
I'm like, okay, wow, all right. So they're in the process of growing it and getting all that lined up, and we're in the process of like getting the marketing ready and stuff. Um, yeah, it's kind of crazy to me. Like,
Yeah.
I guess that have you gotten recognized when you're out and about?
So I'm unique because I am in a subculture. And so when I go to any subculture location, everybody there recognizes me versus outside on the street, right? Where no one might know.
Right,
So
right.
only when I'm really in subculture do I have usually I meet about 5 to 10 fans a night. Just people who come up and say, I've been watching your stuff and like, thank you for what you do kind of stuff. But not at first. At first it was a little like trickle in. Um,
Yeah.
but it's funny though, is I just had to hire my very first $500 an hour lawyer, and I was so happy it wasn't for divorce. It was
Oh,
an
wow.
lawyer, yeah, and I had a contract come in front of me that at first looked really exciting. I thought it was my next big thing, and I realized with the help of a lawyer that it was not the right fit to. It would have basically sold my soul in my story, and I wouldn't have been able to counter narrative it or anything if it was given to the wrong people.
Mhm.
And I was like, I'm so glad I have a lawyer, and I'm so glad I just didn't sign
Yeah.
this thing to get this little, like little bump in my career, and then, didn't read the fine print, and yeah. So
Mhm.
I sometimes, we got a better opportunities too, right? I get all sorts of offers of free sex toys here and there, and I take none of them now, zero. I
Yeah.
don't Yeah, I get in trouble on YouTube when I do sex toy review videos. I can lose monetization. I've lost monetization, got it
Mhm.
back more than a few times. So I just don't fuck around. I don't need one more battery operated vibrator. They all do, in my opinion, the same thing if you put them in the right places. So I just don't want to do that either, right? And some sex education
Right.
too, but I'm like, I don't need another toy.
Oh, that's funny.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that the medical marijuana was a unique opportunity. I thought, is this real? What? And they're like, you're perfect for it. You've got the smoking channel, you got the smoking,
yeah.
and I'm like, okay, well, let's see what's going on here for real. And um,
Wow.
did our homework and decided to jump on board and see where it goes.
So exciting.
So
Wow.
yeah, yeah, they have um another, actually she's a porn star that's been in the porn industry for like 30 years, that has her own strain or brand or whatever you want to call, weed line. I don't know what you call it.
So
Um,
cool.
but yeah, so I'm
Oh.
kind of excited for that. I'm kind of excited to see where that goes.
Well, it reminds me of my condoms. I'm gonna go grab one because they're not in front of me. Hang on. So instead of a normal business card, I give out Toronto Unicorn branded condoms. I don't know if you can see that, my
Oh,
logo.
that's awesome.
And I made sure that they actually worked, right? Because I was like, I don't want to be giving away these things that are gonna be like, disappointing people. So
Right.
quality assurance.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I basically I give these out to fans when I meet them so that they have like a token of like, meeting us or meeting these.
Sure.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. But check them, make sure they work. I don't want the terrible quality condom on my with my name on it.
Right,
So,
right. You don't want to be the cause of someone having a baby. No.
right, right. A little full swap baby girl. No, no.
Right, right.
So it's fun. It's fun. I didn't know I'd ever have a condom design with my logo on it. That's pretty special for my career. It's just one of those things that this started as a hobby for me. It was a COVID hobby. I turned on the camera to keep myself entertained. And that
Uh-huh.
was for me. The channel was for me. And I was telling my secrets, thinking the world was just barely awake to it. And then one video took off and then hit like a 1.5 million. And it was
Wow.
such a vulnerable video. It was me thinking I used YouTube because I wasn't very skilled. I was amateur. I used a live stream on YouTube as a way to save me telling a story to my computer. Okay.
So
Uh,
I did it live and then I downloaded it from my YouTube and saved it. So that's what the purpose was, but I left it up on YouTube. And
mhm.
then a year later, I started filling the channel with different things. So the video that went viral wasn't even really, it wasn't supposed to be public, really. And that's embarrassing when something like that happens because I talk embarrassingly a little bit. Like it's a little bit, have you seen it? Probably not. I talked about where I was on my cycle when I was trying to have a threesome, and I was like, you know, my vagina's waxed, I'm ready to go, and I needed to pump myself up, and like it was just one of those moments where I thought I was just documenting for myself something, right? And
Uh-huh.
so so ever since that kind of caught some attention, it kind of created a space for me to have a voice. And now what I like to do more of my podcast, because YouTube is so censored, right? So for my podcast,
Yes.
which is where I spend my time, I have one where I tell sex stories, really
Okay.
uncensored. And then I have another one called Sex and Swinging with Toronto Unicorn, and I introduce swingers. Like I talk and I interview many single women, single men, couples, and you get
Mhm.
a real world, you know, who are these people that go to these clubs, and like what are their personalities, what are their hopes and dreams, what are their turn-offs, what are their wants. And so everyone looking for that elusive unicorn in the swinger lifestyle, go look. She has a fucking pension plan and responsibilities like anyone else. She's not this mystical thing. So if people can
Right.
recognize the experience of us women, they might even have more success matching with one, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's funny.
That's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. So you're in Ohio, you said? Is that
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in Ohio.
how's the swinger lifestyle in Ohio?
Um, Pretty active where I'm at. I'm like in southwestern Ohio. Um, and they have, so we're real close to like Indiana and Kentucky. Um, so we kind of get stuff all along that, um, from like Dayton to Cincinnati, man. It is just, there's tons of house parties all the time, tons of hotel takeovers. Um, there's a few clubs um, that I'm aware of, and one that actually we went to that was really kind of cool. It was um, somebody's house that they like had this big chunk of land. It's in the middle of nowhere, and they like turned their whole basement and added on this stuff to their house and just like made it a house party sex club kind of scenario. I don't know how else to explain it. It's somebody's house, but it's kind of funny because the guy, the couple that runs it, the guy, he walks around in like what I could just picture Hugh Hefner walking around in, and it's so funny. Like, the silk robe, and I'm like, oh, it's Hef.
Awesome.
But
Someone's living their best life.
oh, they are, and they are older. They are older, and when he takes his little bat or his little robe off, he's got like this tiny thong speedo looking thing. Um, and they always have flashing lights on it on the front.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah. Him and his wife, like you said, they're living their best life. But that was pretty cool place to go.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you want to list your website and your fan page so that at least the audio listeners can get it?
Oh, yeah. My YouTube channel is at FetTalk, FetTalk, or Abby Haute, Haute. Um, I do have a Pornhub website that is Haute MILF. You can find me on that. You can find me on OnlyFans. I do have an OnlyFans page that's at Abby Haute. And um, yeah, I have clips for sale if you don't want to go the OnlyFans route. you can do that too. Just
Aw.
look for Abby Haute.
Perfect. So torontounicorn.com is where you can get all the links to my podcast, my journal, everything else, my Amazon storefronts. I also have my podcasts are my future. That's where I can talk uncensored, right? So that's the future for
Mhm.
me. I do have a fan page where I do chat with fans, give advice, and do sell some of my racy videos there. So that's on onlyfans.com/Toronto.